What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. I know I have to say that stuff. As you guys know, comedy. I'm a comedy head, comedy dude. You know how people allegedly grunge when people heard Nirvana, maybe they were fans of the underground, and then when they heard them get signed and grunge started taking over, they were like, got a lot of hate and said they don't rock with Nirvana anymore. That's how it was with it's like how it is everybody with music. You hear the music people underground and then they get big, you don't rock with them no more. When I when Rogan first put on the Brendans and all this Brendan Schaub and all those terrible, terrible comics, when it was like, what I'm saying, the golden age of podcasting, them boys had some good and funny podcasts. I'm talking about some of the funniest moments. I still go back and watch some of the compilations from 6 years ago and all that stuff. But of course, I don't want to say you stay long enough to become hated, but they took their comedy and they didn't do good by it. They didn't put nobody on but the people they already had, and they were backstabbers. You know what I mean? And it all came to light, of course, when Brian Callen and Chris D'Elia got caught for underage being with underage means. So, no, I'm not gonna sit here and put that out there. Chris was with the underage means. Brian Callen was trying to take some mean. So, and and nobody went to court, nobody got whatever, but their careers were done after that. And it's funny too, because you see how miserable Chris is in his life now that he can't be that kind of person, but that's a different story for a different time. And though I'm not a gigantic fan of Ari, and I know people, the first thing they'll think of is the Kobe stuff and all that stuff, but Ari is a comic, man. And Ari is a comics comic. Is he a leftist or rightist, racist, and all that stuff? Like, I don't give a damn. Ari sometimes says some funny stuff. He says that's what comedy is. That's what comedians are. They say the ish that we don't want to say or can't say at sometimes. But I haven't seen this yet. Obviously, I've just seen this. I just seen the headline, and it just a bunch of shit came out. I have a huge, huge dislike for Brendan Schaub. You know what I mean? I think he is a just over the top racist that realized that he wasn't funny enough, so he quit comedy for his kids, and he uh took on the edict of, oh, I'm just a super duper Trumper. And to his dumb, idiotic mind, he figures being a Trumper is being racist, which a lot of people think that. No, it's just how, you don't gotta be a super hardcore racist and think every nigga is just guilty until proven innocent. You know what I'm saying? Brandon and people like that, Brandon and all, they think that way. You know what I mean? And but Ari, he gets backlash for being one of them and stuff, but Ari's a real dude, you know what I mean? Ari says some real shit sometimes. And he'll call out their bullshit in a heartbeat. Ari was one of the first Rogan Spear people to call out Brendan and all these people for their bullshit. But I'm rambling, of course. Ari calls out Brendan and D'Elia. Ari calls out Brian Callen and D'Elia. Let's see. This is just a snippet of a podcast from XLP, and I believe it's called Trigonometry, the podcast. Okay. Yeah, let's peep it.
LA scene especially. LA is just the most garbage people. I don't know how much time you spent out there.
Some.
No backbone.
I was there for 3 days. And I'm not religious. I was like, these people need God.
Yeah, and they just can't wait to sell out a friend to protect an idea of their place in the world. The way they react to Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, anyone who gets into any trouble, they're just like, sacrifice. I gotta save myself. No one's even coming after them. They're like, well, people ask me, they're like, who, strangers are asking? What are you talking about? Yeah, those guys even sell out each other. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Immediately, not just like, hey, Brian Callen, that's my friend.
Remember when Brian Callen was literally, Brian Callen and Chris D'Elia are synonymous with together. They are, I swear to God, Shaq and Kobe, Jordan and Pippen when it comes to just being togetherness. And as soon as shit hit the fan, boy, I'm talking about, boy, that boy Brian said, I don't even know Chris. I've had dinner with him one time, he said. Bro, you guys brought each other out into this comedy world. Y'all literally started from the bottom up together, and you don't know him and you've only had lunch with him 2 times? Boy.
Without even calling them. That's what I saw in LA. People without even calling their friend because they're too busy getting plastic surgery. It was like, let me sell them out real quick.
What's important is that we haven't spoken to Chris.
No.
And he's saying plastic surgery because
we've never been
Brian got his eyes
you know,
pulled
I was
back
on the
to
road with him.
the lines right here, he
about
said.
14 years ago once.
Brandon started
when he was,
crying. It was
just beginning. But
it was
I've
a
never been on the road
clusterfuck,
with him,
dude.
so I don't know. I don't know what to think, and I don't know. And that's what's so frustrating.
I'm just sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I don't.
So anyway.
As much as I do not like Brendan, though, I ain't gonna say it on my mama. As much as I don't like Brendan, he's a bad person through and through. Bad father, bad person, all that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying that shit. And I ain't the best father, nigga. But this nigga's a bitch ass nigga, bro. And that nigga held it down, bro. That nigga held it down for everybody getting canceled. Because, you know, Joe Rogan, once them boys started getting canceled, he jumped off the ship fast and moved to Austin. It's the only reason he moved to Austin. He wants to say COVID and this and that and the money. No, you left. And the same reason why Joey Coco Diaz, who I'm a fan of, with his little bit of racist ass, but no, he jumped off the ship because that boy had allegations that no one talks about. We sweep it under the rug because he's Uncle Coco. You know what I mean? But not, boy, I'm rambling.
Instead of going, hey, fuck you. No, he didn't do that.
Exactly. That's what my boys would have did.
It's an easy one to do. And if you're found out wrong, you just go, okay, well, I found out more. But they're so worried.
So yesterday, Ari Shaffir went on the Trigonometry podcast.
Oh,
and I'm
nigga,
sure
this
these
is,
guys
I thought it was a clip from the podcast.
But have you
this
ever
is
heard a cornier name for a show? Not like I'm any good at naming things, but Trigonometry, I mean, come on. As you can see in the intro, he went off on Callan and the rest of the LA comics for how completely fake their friendships are and how they're willing to just throw each other under the bus without even reaching out first. But if that was the only interesting thing he brought up, I wouldn't be making this video. He actually calls out a lot more people throughout the course of this podcast. Like this one towards the end, where he exposes Kim Congdon for reporting someone to the police for hate speech just for saying build that wall.
And I've seen people misreport hate crimes. We were outside the, well, no, I heard about this, the Comedy Store after Trump got elected. And Kim Congdon and a bunch of other people, and they're feeling excitable because of Trump. And they're all standing around, and somebody yells, like, you go build that wall, as they're driving by. And she's like, what the fuck? And got really mad. And everybody else like, Kim, I don't think they're talking to you or really, or like
Karen.
mad like that. And she goes, no, that's fucking hate. And they were like, you sure it's not because we're outside the Comedy Store and they're making a joke? She's like, no fucking way. And the one was like, that was a black guy in the car. Like I saw the black guy yelling it out. I think he was making a joke. Also, there's only one a bit Latino woman in here, and we're all just white and black. It just doesn't hold up. But she felt the fucking racism. So that's a reported hate crime.
Just 3 weeks ago, Kim Congdon uploaded a clip complaining about how cancel culture is ruining comedy, but she's out here reporting regular people to the police for repeating one of the campaign slogans for the man who just won the presidency.
Cancel culture has done great damage to comedy. Like that's what comedy is now. It's like, just tell me like what I hear, what I relate to.
Yeah, they came and they want to hear specific things instead of just coming and hearing something they may have never heard or thought of before.
Yeah.
Can I be offensive tonight? Is that cool? Oh, thank God. Because let me tell you, I'm sick of the comedy crowds that get offended. It's crazy. I've been doing this for like 9 years, and I've noticed that it's getting worse and worse.
I know that people can have a change of heart, but I'm more pro.
She sound like the biggest Karen. I don't want to judge somebody off the tone of their voice, but you can tell she will probably immediately snitch on something. Or, you know what I'm saying, will be like, I'm offended. She'll probably do some shit like that, but who am I to judge? I'm not going to sit here and gas y'all. I don't know who the fuck she is. So, let's proceed.
Prone to believe that this is a grift, and she can just sense where the wind's blowing. Ari also discusses something that I've talked about in the last couple of my videos, the traditional cycle of a career in podcasting and comedy, and how money and success becomes a force of entropy, detaching you from your work and your audience, leading to an increasingly inferior product by the day.
I don't understand why comedians are worried about this kind of what's happening online, because the reality is no one really watches what the mainstream creates anymore.
No,
There's
right.
one or two things, but mostly no.
Yeah.
And the power is with the creator.
Yeah, it's weird. It's money, I think. So they had a lot of people just broke for a long time, barely making ends meet, day jobs, temp jobs, you know, or barely getting by with comedy, you know, making 35 grand a year. And then like money came into it. And now that they don't have 32 grand, they make $3.2 million
The
a year.
podcast
They're
boom
like, well, I
changed
can't afford to
comedy-
lose 100 grand on a
comedy
sponsor.
forever.
It's nuts, but that's what happens to everybody, I guess. It's money,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. These comics, they get weak. I see it. It's a worrisome thing. You got to look at where other comics.
It's happening to Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is my boy, my nigga. That nigga's getting hella weaker by the year. Every year, Theo just, he don't do, man, I remember one time. Now, mind you, I'm not saying, oh, like Jay said, if you want to hear my old shit, go buy my own albums. I totally get that. But Theo ain't even Theo no more. Theo is just an LA comic now. You know what I'm saying? And you can see his shit getting super watered down, and he don't even put out material like that no more. His podcasting he don't even hit the same. You know what I'm saying? Them same, like, yeah, that one time the boy had 3 arms on, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember. He don't even hit those ones anymore. You know what I mean? Money, man.
Dropped off and avoid it. And I think what most of the rich ones get is they stop. There's exceptions, obviously. The political comics are just as angry about politics, no matter how rich they get. The ones that are heartbroken, they get just as angry about heartbreak. You know, they just gotta self-motivate. But a lot of them just like, they stop going up every day. They're not daily comics. You know, they just get ready for specials. And they're just not as good. You see it. They're not as good.
This seems to be obviously referencing people like Schultz and Segura, who have reached their peaks and have been trending downwards over the last year. He also brings up an American social climber comedian who nobody can stand at all, and the other guys on the show know exactly who he's talking about, but I honestly have no idea who they're referring to.
They're talking about Brendan
LA.
Schaub.
It's always been like that.
Sounds
You
like
can't
the
change
Edinburgh
it.
Festival.
We're talking about
What?
Brendan Schaub.
Sounds like the Edinburgh Festival.
A bit. Yo, you can see a lot
No
of that
one
climbing
likes
at
him.
Edinburgh.
Not even
For
his
sure.
friends.
For sure. And then you see some of the Americans. Not all. I've seen 1 or 2 climber Americans. We're probably thinking of the same person. But like
Yeah, I think we all know.
yeah, but like
If you guys have any ideas who they're talking about, let me know down in the comments. Ari
Chop,
also
chop.
mentions how Joe took a couple of years to have Shane on the podcast after he was canceled from SNL, and how it was actually the Legion of Skanks who lifted him up after he was fired.
Yeah, that gets snatched away from him because of something he said on a podcast,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And then
I hate the fact that, first of all, Shane is not funny, but he is like turning into somewhat of a god to these dudes because he got mini canceled. Yo, this nigga's not funny. How many dick grabbing jokes can you make? He does know football though. Respect. You know, Notre Dame sucks and all, but he knows ball and he knows sports a little bit. Because and they all came to his defense. Bruh. Now I totally get it because it was like, oh, this is one of ours. You feel me? One of our. You feel me? It was like if one of them had got it and got took from them. So I totally get they came to his defense. But Shane is extremely overrated, bruh.
it's almost the way I think the reason it's interesting is the comedy industry, and from what I could see from the outside, and you may have a better perspective, like circled the wagons around him.
Yeah.
Rogan helped him out, other people helped him out, made sure that he was getting attention, and then his talent kind of shone
Rogan
through.
took a couple years with Rogan.
You did?
Yeah, it was
Of
a couple
course
years
he
that
did.
was on.
Okay.
He's a paid person, man.
But nonetheless, I guess
But
what
once he discovered him, he's like,
Rogan
this guy's
is the
great. Well, had nothing
one
to
that
do with
jumped
what
off
happened
the
at SNL.
talking about burn
Oh,
the
okay.
boats.
It
He
had nothing to
burned
do
his
with that.
career.
It's like
Interesting.
people say,
All
oh,
right.
I like your sketches, they're funny.
So that was misreading from me. But I guess what I feel is people didn't throw him in the trash
No,
can.
and also they felt like, hey, he's one of ours. He's getting unfairly taken down. And like the Legion of Skanks type of crowd.
I've heard that reference
was like,
before
no,
by other
fuck that.
comics.
That's so shitty.
It really shows how honest Ari is, that he's not willing to go along with this portrayal of Joe as the savior of canceled comedians. I don't think many other people in the Rogan sphere would bring up the fact that he didn't have Shane on the podcast immediately when people were trying to ruin his career. How many comedians have you heard suck off Joe for his never-ending contributions to the comedy community?
Hate it.
We get it.
I
He
hate
has
it.
you guys on his podcast. A lot of people listen to it. He built his own comedy club. He's really the godfather of
Hey,
podcasting.
this nigga's weak.
No matter what you think of Ari, you have to admit he has much less of a filter than your average comedian.
everything.
And seems a lot less concerned about making sure his comedian friends are always happy with him. Yeah, just a quick update video for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, please subscribe. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah, get that boy a sub. I don't know, cuz is XX LP. I'm sure he does one of these. Hey, let me tell you something real fast. Motherfuckers have made a. I think motherfuckers have bought houses talking shit about Brendan Schaub and Rogan and them, and that's amazing. I'm so late to the shit, but I'm not. That ain't this channel, for example. But I'm saying, sheesh. I guess if a nigga can go back 5 years, because it's like I've been watching these dudes since day one. I remember when they used to say Fighter and the Kid episode 77. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'd be like, man, I would people, man, they were funny. You feel me? It was funny. And then all them cats, I swear to God, all them niggas got big headed. And then they started being conniving. And then they started turning on each other. And then what you do in the dark comes to the light. So all them niggas was touching on some young Yimens. And, you know, and Coco and them was like, if you want to go up on the Comedy Store, you got to give me a little Yimin before you know, if you want to do 15. So, you know, and then, and Ari says what everybody was thinking, but, you know, Ari is super controversial too. He teeters on that line like, is cuz racist? Is this nigga, you know what I'm saying? Da-da-da. But, you know, I say Ari used to be saying some real shit sometimes. Let's say he never did any of his racist skits or he never did that Kobe joke. Shit, he would be probably one of the he'd be a comedy savior as long among the homeless cat or like the, you know, the people who call out the other people's bullshit who get scared. People Joe Rogan's comedy, the last one to burn the boats, is literally up there with Brendan Schaub on some of the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. But people won't say nothing to this man because maybe he'll have me on the podcast. I'll never forget when I think what's his name was ready to suck him off physically, Chris DiStefano. I've never seen a man beg so much. Like, I'm surprised Rogan actually did it. Because obviously, Chris, you know how DiStefano left the homie Giannis, destroyed both their careers when they had something bubbling because, you know, his girl told him he should probably be by himself. And now he's been on, he didn't want to do a podcast with Giannis, but then has been in 7 different podcasts afterwards with people. Joe List, the whole line. Cuz that makes bread, I believe his name is Papa something or something, that Papa. You know, cuz feel like, then of course that the most unfunniest nigga in the world, niggas from Unprofitable Jokers or whatever. You know what? I'm just sitting here talking shit. I sound like a hater, huh? And I'm not stupid, but no one black talks about this low key besides Cuz in London, and no one really says this shit. And you know what? They take away from the greats like Corey Holcomb and people like that, and Mark Curry and shit like that. They can't get up places because there's dudes that either ruin comedy or ruin that comedy scene of venues and shit like that. They got it so damn tied up you can't get real comics on there. You know, and they don't even let black comics go up in the Comedy Store. That's a different video for a different time. Give XLP a sub. Give your boy a subscribe, man. Videos coming out daily. Streams coming out almost at least 3 times a week. Wrestling streams, football streams. You know, I'm just pushing out content, man. On the road to 100,000. Get my plaque, you know what I mean? But man, subscribe, all that stuff, guys.